Alright, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name is Elliot and you're watching Rickety Ski Reviews. Today, we're going to be continuing down our journey of looking at all of the 100mm skis reviewed by Ski Essentials. Now, Ski Essentials, I tend to think does a great job. We're going to kind of go through and see how their review compares to mine. But just in general, I tend to really like their reviews and they tend to be pretty on the money. Now, we're gonna do the Atomic Maverick 100 Ti. That's the one that we're on right now, and we'll kind of keep working our way through their video. I thought I was gonna be able to do it all in one day, and holy moly, they reviewed a lot of skis all at once. So we're gonna go ski by ski and just kind of skip through to the skis that I've skied on, and I can give you a comparison as to what I thought about the skis. So, this was my ski of the year, the Atomic Maverick. I really like the Atomic Maverick series. I think it's very underrated. I think that it doesn't get kind of the credit it deserves. I feel like it's almost had its lunch eaten by the two other Atomic skis. You've got the Backland, which is kind of, the backcountry ski, which, could also double as a powder ski. Then you've got the Atomic Bent series, which is a powder and freestyle ski, right, for the park and rails. And then you've got the Atomic Redster series, which is just carving oriented. And in the middle, the Atomic Maverick. Now the Atomic Maverick is a beautiful blend of carving, having great kind of tip initiation, really clean turns, and powder skiing, where it's not powder first, but you've got enough flotation from that horizon tech and from that wider width that you're really able to ski on a lot of different parts of the mountain. The Atomic Maverick 88 Ti is what I daily drive. It's what I bought. It was my ski of the year for last year. I really like that ski. I went with the 88 because I like kind of snappier turns, more responsiveness. I really care about carving. And I found that width still gives me enough playfulness in the powder that I can get the flotation I need. Now, there are some days where it's not quite enough flotation, and that's why I went with a pair of Salomon QST 106s for powder skis. But again, I love the Atomic Maverick 88 Ti. When I reviewed the Atomic Maverick 100 Ti at Mount Hood, I found that while the turning compared to the 88 took a little bit longer, edge to edge, you had to be a little bit more patient and open with your GS turns. But we got like fresh powder that day, and I found that the 100s had more flotation, obviously, but they also tended to do better. They didn't get hung up on the snow as much as the 88 Ti when we had kind of adverse conditions or new snow. But that's enough about what I thought of the Atomic Maverick. Let's see what Ski Essentials thinks. Another thing I noticed when I watched their Atomic Maverick 88 Ti review, or one of their Atomic Maverick solo reviews, is that they kind of changed their opinion on some of it and been like, this is an unappreciated ski, it carves really well. All things that I had kind of been saying in my review. So I know that they watched some of these videos. Maybe that influenced it, maybe it didn't, who knows, but I'm just happy to see the Atomic Maverick getting the recognition it deserves, because it is a very slept on ski, and it was my ski of the year. It's just so snappy, so reactive, and it performs like no other ski that I've ever skied. Now, let's see what Ski Essentials thinks.
I'd say the Atomic is kind of on the other end of that spectrum, where you feel the things under your foot.
This is one of those more reactive skis.
Yeah. If you think
energetic and reactive.
If you think about, if we like to use our car analogies, but this feels more like a low to the ground, firm suspension vehicle that corners extremely well, but you're feeling it in the steering wheel.
Yeah, totally.
And I think that's kind of a hallmark of these skis, this Maverick 100 specifically, the head core as well, where you're getting just an extreme amount of precision and reaction for a relatively light weight. So for having two sheets of metal, we're at under 1,800 grams here.
Okay, going to Bob's car analogy, I would say a couple of things. If you're on the west, like Utah and Idaho, you don't feel it in the wheel as much because the snow is so soft. So you get away with a lot more out here, and you don't have to kind of feel some of that chatter because the snow's so soft. But the other thing I would say too is it is really reactive and really responsive. And especially if you keep a little bit of pressure kind of loaded at all times, and then you can kind of enjoy that turn initiation in the tip of the ski, it's a really beautiful turn. I understand what he's saying, and I've skied the Atomic Advantage, which is the precursor to the Atomic Maverick, back when I was in the East, and I understand what he's saying. But I would say that if you just kind of keep a little bit more pressure, you don't feel some of the chatter on the ski, because that pressure allows it to be more torsionally rigid.
Is this the 180 here?
It's gotta be.
180. So really impressive how they're able to pack this much power and energy into a ski that's sub 1,900 grams.
Yeah, and not the most power.
Nope.
I think like everything over there is more powerful
Yeah.
from a stability at speed and edge grip perspective. Maybe not edge grip. I don't know.
I don't know.
Pretty much.
This thing's pretty hooky.
Yeah, definitely not edge grip. And when he's talking about power too, power in a ski is based on what you put into it. Some skis, like a Vocal Mantra, the ski is almost kind of carrying you and it's gonna rail through. I'm assuming that's what he means by power, kind of more of like a just like really stiff carving ski. But if you're somebody who is able to load the ski and get the energy you get back out of it, I think that this is a snappier, more responsive ski. I'd rather have that than have it kind of rail through. But, you know, everybody's different in their preference, and I don't think he's saying anything that's not accurate. And I think that especially on the East Coast, something like that might be more important.
You know, it definitely, you feel the turn start here.
Yeah.
And it is stiff enough, and you really feel it hold on back to the end. Your saving grace here is that they do incorporate some taper and rocker into it.
Yeah.
So that's making it just allow you to break free from the turn a little bit earlier. We've skied this thing in soft snow, trees. It's really amenable to those conditions and terrain, which is, I think, a surprising kind of balance to how precise and strong it is on trail.
Yeah, like in soft snow, you can feel the bent 100 influence.
Yeah.
Like the shovel is not that much different.
No, when we hold up that bent to this, like from
Right.
here forward, it is
Like
the same
basically
thing.
the same thing.
Yeah.
So obviously the rest of the ski is different and causes a difference, but you feel that difference more on soft or more on firm snow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they did a really good job, like kind of bringing in some of their existing success in trees and soft snow from other skis and applying it to this.
Yeah, and for
Yeah, and I would say that's the one big thing that I see is that most people never take the Maverick off the trail, or they don't think that it's going to do well, so people who like to ski in the woods never try it. And, you know, especially if you're on the 100, I think that would do great in the woods. I skied the 88 in the woods in the powder, and it's like, yeah, the flotation is not great over like 2 feet of snow, but like for a full foot, it's still enjoyable. You still float on top. I had Atomic Advantages all year round last year, and I skied on it on powder days and groom days. I think because when people are looking at the Maverick, the way that it's marketed is more of just like a groomer, easy, approachable ski. But it's not. It's like, it just shreds on the groomers, and it actually can be really fun in the trees in the woods. But somehow it's gotten kind of overshadowed by these other skis, and people don't necessarily try it enough to get it out there. But I'm telling you, this is a very surprising, very enjoyable ski.
you know, most skiers that are looking for kind of that on-trail performance, you know, this is a better choice than that bent 100, which
it
is
definitely
certainly more
is.
of a soft snow specialist.
Yeah, I like, you know, bents are cool, and like bent, you could make an argument you could put up here because it's not like super symmetrical from like a freestyle perspective. It kind of is a directional twin, but yeah, like this ski, of course it carves better because there's metal in it,
Right.
and like it's designed to do that. So it's just an interesting kind of comparison, and I often like bringing in the Backland 100 into the Atomic conversation too.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that, yeah, of course it carves better because there's metal in it. I think that that's a little overreaching, just because, like, if you look at the Solomon QST, that doesn't have metal in it, and it still carves much better than the bent. We'll talk about the bent later. Maybe we'll get into it and do a different video. I think that the Atomic bent is meant more as like a powder and park ski, but if you look at how it carves, it really doesn't carve well. Like, it loads kind of half the turn and then doesn't give you your energy back. This Atomic Maverick is like the polar opposite of that. When you load this turn, it gives you every bit of energy. You need to be ready to load that ski and take that energy and know what to do with it. But man, if you are somebody who really enjoys precise turns, who enjoys the nuance of a turn, you can get so many different turn shapes out of it. It really carves, you know, going back to that analogy, it carves like a sports car. You know, it's not like a race ski where it's like hair trigger and it's ready to go on an instant. This is more like it carves really well. I can get my hip to the ground on it, but also I can float and connect my lines. I mean, that's really what I like about the ski, is that I can carve on a Super G hill, make beautiful turns, and then hop over into the woods and still bounce around and have fun. So it allows me to connect these lines that traditionally I wouldn't have been able to. Back when it was like race skis in twin tips. You could do the race ski on one and the twin tips on the other, and never shall the two meet until now. Now we have this beautiful ski like the Atomic Maverick. So yeah, as far as comparing to the bent, it's so different. I mean, if you're maybe a beginner to intermediate, you wouldn't notice that because you're not loading the ski enough to notice that you're kind of getting robbed of your energy. But man, if you're somebody who loads a boot and loads a ski, it's really frustrating going from the Maverick to the bent, because the Maverick gives you a very precise amount of your energy back, and the bent just kind of like doesn't give it back to you. But anyway, I'll try not to get too sidetracked by the Atomic bent like I normally do. Let's keep talking about the Maverick. And specifically the 100. It is a kind of a different animal from the 88. It's funny to hear them say it's like a sports car and reactive, because that's kind of how I think about the 88 more. The 100 is a little bit more patient, big, open turns. Like, it will give you good turns, but you have to wait, and edge to edge time is a little bit slower. Whereas like, honestly, the 95 I think is a really healthy blend of both, where you're getting flotation, you're getting snappiness. If you're somebody who wants to try to take this in the powder a bit more, I would look at the 95 and the 100 for sure. But again, this is a nice ski. If I was primarily in the woods, maybe I would look at this more.
Because literally, if you put those three skis on the wall, especially if you're looking at the forebody of them,
Yeah.
there aren't many differences.
No.
But when you ski them, you do start to appreciate just their, like, the kind of subtle differences in how they feel and what they're intended to do.
Yeah. And this one certainly falls on the higher end of that performance spectrum.
Yeah, and among those three skis, it's the highest.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, this thing reps. Like, you really kind of have to be ready and prepared to deal with the stiffness of this ski.
Yeah.
You know, there is some tail rocker. We kind of looked at that splay earlier, but, you know, it's long enough. But it's certainly, when they take that ski and go from sidewall into cap, it doesn't lose a lot of its power and stiffness. And that's kind of what we see in more of that free ride realm, like a line blade optic that goes from...
Yeah, and the surprising thing about that is how light it is. When you hold it in your hand, you're not expecting that. But man, if you're somebody who can like really gradually apply pressure to your boot, you're gonna really enjoy the ski. And again, like, I don't sell these skis. I'm not associated with anything. I know I don't always mention that every time, but I sometimes forget that people are watching new videos. Yeah, I've got no skin in the game, no dog in the race. I just like these skis a lot, so much that I bought them, and I felt like they kind of went unappreciated. So I wanted to tell everyone else about them. But yeah, I've got no affiliation, no nothing. I own these skis, I like them a lot, and I feel like they're very kind of slept on compared to the other Atomics in the line.
Sidewall to cap, and then you see a big difference in the flex. This is not really that. You know, we see a very stiff flex from tip to tail, and they're really only using this shape and that slight rocker.
Yeah, feeling it in the shop is one thing. One thing I would say is, like, when you think about the ski from like leverage perspective, the tips are definitely a softer spot. Maybe not soft, maybe soft isn't the right word. The tips are very much where the ski likes to catch and initiate its turn. So when you get that kind of nice even flex, it allows you to focus on the tip of the ski, allows you to focus on the turn initiation, and as far as like on snow, that's how it feels. Sometimes, you know, the shop flexing is good and it can tell you a little bit if you've done it enough times, but it can be misleading compared to the ski, how it feels on snow.
Allow it to be more approachable for more skiers.
Yeah, and I think it's like that shift to cap construction. It's not taking out longitudinal stiffness, but I think it's taking out some torsional stiffness.
Yeah.
Which, when you combine with the rocker and the Horizon Tech and the taper, like, that's on purpose.
Yep.
They don't want the extremities of this ski to be too torsionally stiff.
And if you use the term knife-like for the Evolve 100, you
Very knife-like.
very much incorporate that same characteristic into this Maverick 100.
Yep.
Yeah, and that comes to the downside of the ski. Now again, this is my ski of the year. I gave the 100 Ti a 9 out of 10. I gave the 88 Ti a 9.5. This here, you know, I love these skis, but here's their downside. They can get hung up in some of that heavier snow. Now, light powder, they do great, but if it's heavy snow like Pacific Northwest gets or springtime in the East Coast gets, kind of the opposite of the K2 Mindbender, this ski will, if you get wet East Coast snow in the spring or just wet Pacific Northwest or Sierra Cement, things like that, this ski can get caught up in that snow. Because it's so light, sometimes it'll kind of get grabbed back more. So, you know, it does have that weakness. But again, like, that is such a small little piece compared to everything else. And you know, on good packed snow on groomers, it feels really good, which when you think about it on paper is like 90% of the game. And then if you also think about like, okay, well, if I'm on the groomers, when do I not want to be on the groomers? Well, powder day, yeah, like in good conditions in the trees, the ski allows you to do that as well. But you know, every ski has downsides, and you should know about this ones. If you're in wet, sloppy snow, this ski is so kind of light and reactive that it can kind of get hung up on that snow more than other skis. It almost is like that Horizon Tech kind of working against it, where yeah, you'll get a lot of flotation and buoyancy from that Horizon Tech, but you can also kind of get snagged by the stickier snow. But again, that's like a subset, and honestly, there's no ski that skis perfectly on sticky snow. They're getting better, but it's still like an adverse condition for that reason.
But a little more floaty.
Yeah.
You get a little bit more, like, you know, we looked at the amount of tip rocker in that ski, and that's a pretty big difference compared to Evolve. So I agree 100% that they both have knife-like qualities, but yeah, you definitely get more soft snow float from the Maverick, which I think is cool.
Yeah, and like when we're comparing this to something else with more like dampness, you know, like it's not the quietest ski out there. You certainly feel it, you know, declivity, you know, it's a quieter experience.
Yep. I think just about everything over there is quieter except for maybe that Core 99.
Yeah.
But, you know, we've been pretty open about like my weight and not really working well with some of those lighter, stiffer skis, but that does not carry over to this.
Right.
This ski is just fine for me.
Yep.
In fact, it's a lot of fun to ski, and I really enjoy skiing it. It's probably not what I would choose for myself.
Yeah.
I don't really know why. I just don't do what this ski wants to do very often without also wanting a twin tip.
And like I'm kind of the opposite. If you handed me that ski in the 188, I would ski it all year and be super happy.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that thing from tip to tail, top to bottom.
Yeah, I enjoy skiing it. It just doesn't really fit with what I do on skis.
Yeah.
When I'm skiing for myself, that is.
Right. And it's not a surprise that ski, we've talked about the Core 99, which is also one that fits my skiing size and style quite well.
Right. Yeah, you don't go into the park very often.
Well, I do, only to follow you.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, what they're talking about with weight and size, I mean, some of that is true. Some of it's ski style. The way that Jeff skis, he likes to kind of like ride the ski and then throw it and then let it catch. And this isn't a dig, this is just a ski style thing. Whereas Bob is a little bit more methodical. He likes to load up the ski and kind of let it come around. And the Atomic rewards that kind of skiing. If you're looking for something that you can just kind of throw and then reset and reapply the pressure, it's not really like that. It's more of like a fine edge where it wants to build and complete the turn. But yeah, some of that ski style and not so much like weight and size necessarily. Like again, I skied the ski with Zach. I think if you're coming from like a carving background or a racing background, you're gonna really enjoy this because it gives you all of that responsiveness and pressure that you're used to, and pressure initiation and the tip that you're used to, while giving you the responsiveness and playfulness to go in the powder. But you know, everybody likes different things. Yeah, I got no problem with someone saying I don't like these skis. That's fine. You know, I think he was really subjective and talked about all the qualities of the ski, and that's what I'm looking for. So overall, I give this review 2 thumbs way up. I've watched their original stuff when I was buying skis, and I've watched this stuff now, and I feel like they have better come to understand the Atomic Maverick line. They've really like been able to highlight some of the nuances that you only see when you've spent time on the ski and really are loading it. Yeah, I thought this was a great review, and I'm with Bob. I think if you gave me Atomic Mavericks in almost any width and said, you know, you can only ski on these for the rest of the year, I would be happy. It's a really beautiful ski. If you're somebody who really savors the turn and enjoys carving, you're gonna enjoy this. If you're somebody who likes to go at random off trail and go in the woods and enjoy it, you're gonna like this ski. Yeah, as far as their review, 2 big thumbs up. I like seeing kind of the new input about the ski. This was very cool. Yeah, that's the end of my video. One quick bit of like housekeeping, I guess. I'm still kind of new to this YouTube thing, but I did set up subscriptions if people wanna do it. But please don't feel like I'm pressuring you to do it, or you know, that I'm not gonna respond to comments. I still try to respond to comments. This was like a thing where I can do, okay, if you wanna chip in $3, I am going to be able to prioritize your ski sizing. As the channel has grown, I have had a really hard time keeping up with comments, keeping up with emails, people asking for ski recommendations. So I think what I'm gonna do is just kind of do it as a monthly service. If you want me to help you with sizing, that's the basic tier. If if you want to help you with picking a ski for your style and what you're telling me, that takes time. So I'm gonna put that at like the, I don't know, whatever the next tier is below that. And then I've had people send me videos of them skiing, and that takes a ton of time. To give you like professional ski coaching, like I'm a USSA certified race referee, level 100 coach. I coached at Mount Hood for ski camps. That takes a lot of time to give you critique of your skiing and like send it back to you and go bit by bit. So I put that at the premium one. It renews every month. So if you want that kind of feedback from me, there you go. I will still try to reply to people's comments, but I think that that's a good way to make sure that I'm gonna reply. You know, if I see somebody who wants help or advice on skiing in the comment, of course I'm gonna reply, right? But if I'm doing that, like I found myself doing it for 2 hours the other night, and it's like, okay, I still need to edit this video and put the content out for everyone. So if you wanna just kind of be prioritized and get that feedback from me, I think the subscription service makes a lot of sense for that. I'm happy to give you skiing advice one-on-one for those subscriptions. Anyway, I felt weird setting it up. I always feel dirty with this kind of stuff, but just to be fair to everyone else on the channel, I can't be spending 2-3 hours just going through comments all day. You know, or to my children or family. Dad, what are you doing? Oh yeah, I'm just replying about Fisher Rangers. It's like really grateful that people reach out at all. Please keep the comments coming. I try to respond to them as I can, but if you have like a question that doesn't kind of serve everyone else and is specific to just you and what you're looking to purchase, please consider the subscription service to make sure it kind of rises to the top. Yeah, that's the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this kind of content, please consider liking and subscribing, just because it helps my channel out. But, you know, more than anything, just thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.